Hello, my name is Quentin Fuchs, aka FoxArt3D. I'm a freelance 3D artist specialized in character art. A friend of mine told me he was just starting his journey in Substance Painter. So today I'll show you a cool procedural workflow for your assets. We'll first start by reviewing his mesh and correcting a few problems in Blender. We'll then take it to Substance Painter and start with our workflow. So as we can see here, we have a nice 3D katana. We got the high poly. We also have the low poly. There's also the cage mesh, but we won't be using this one. So let's not care about this. So it's a pretty cool mesh, but we can also already see a couple problems, like the katana low poly is a little bit tilted, and that'll cause a bit of a problem in baking. So we'll first start by correcting this problem. Okay, so that should work. Now, second problem, we're going to hide the high poly. Second problem I can see is the UVs are messed up. So we'll be correcting this also in time-lapse because it might take a bit of time. Well, yeah, before we cut the UVs, we'll just apply a bevel on some parts, because that might also be a little problem for baking. Okay, so now we can start putting the seam lines for the UV. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done with this part of the mesh. Just one more here. Here you go. Then let's just select this one and wrap. Okay, so I had to do a fast video cut here. Just tried it first try and wrap, got a little problem. It was just me forgetting a little part, and you see the problem here, but technically we'll see if it's resolved here. let's take it, unwrap, and problem solve. So this is a pretty good base for this mesh. We'll have to do the same thing for the other ones. So this one's a lot easier. It might go faster. And we're gonna apply a small bevel. This part, and I think we'll delete just this part because it's not really seen and shouldn't be. So a small bevel here. So you can see the bevel looks pretty flat, so I think that this problem is because we need to apply the transforms. Now we'll try again, and here you go, much cleaner. Now let's just delete those. And cut our seams. Mark seams. Select all again. It's an okay result. We can do this. Now let's go back and take care of this one. So this one should be pretty fast as well. You can isolate like this. Transforms for security and yeah, that should work. Okay, so if I'm not saying wrong, this was actually just the high poly with a little bit less resolution. We could lower a bit the res here, like just by deleting those. I like to do it 2 by 2, and if you still have too much res, you can do it again. There you go. We still keep a nice form, but we'll not do this for now. This one has already pretty good results, but I think it could use an apply all transforms and try and unwrap it again. Yeah, this one's much cleaner. Okay, so now we're gonna take all of the low poly with A, have all this messed up, no problem. You have this plugin already installed, just go in edit preferences and add-ons, search for Magic UV, and you got it here. So just activate it, and the reason why I use this one is because when you plug the UVs, it keeps the textile density better. Here you go. So now we have a working UV. As you can see here, it's really like just at the tip, so technically that's okay, but we could have some problems with Substance Painter just not accepting the mesh because it considers the UVs as getting out of our square here. So now this should work. Let's then take out this file, export FBX, and I already did that. Those were the ones given to me by my friend, and I made the exploded version. You'll see why in the UV modified. So let's just call it UV modified tutorial. And selected objects. Here we go. Now you can make a new file. You can give it the resolution you want, but I'll stay to 2K because it'll be faster for the tutorial. Take your little poly mesh and say OK. So here you have it. And now for the baking, you go in texture set settings, bake mesh maps. You got everything activated for starters. I'll take 2K for the output size, but you can put more res if you want. And click here and take your get in that high poly. Here you go. For the ID, so the ID is the color map you'll use to mask for separated materials. You should put it to vertex color when you're exporting from Blender. So I think we're good. We should be. So as you can see, you'll see there's a bit of a problem appearing in the bake for some places. It's mostly clean, but there's still some problems here and some problems here as well. So for security, we're gonna make another change here. We're gonna separate those meshes so it doesn't go into each other. So I'll move this one by GX1 and this one by GX2, and that should be okay. Now take it again, file, export, FBX. This one, yeah, and we'll have to do the same thing with the eyeball. So take this one, GX1, and this one, GX2. Take it all, export FBX. Let's call it exploded tutorial. Actually, I should have done UV modified exploded, but who cares? There you go. Now, if you want to change your mesh, which has already been loaded without starting a new file all the time, go to Edit, Project Configuration, select, and we'll have to select the same one again because we exported with the same name. Say OK. Make mesh maps. Select this one again too. It actually has a different name, so which one should we delete? This one. Yes. And we're gonna bake again. The results should be a little better, but we still should have small problems. So we still have those weird problems inside. Small ones here too, and those ones. So the reason for this is the cage. So we can correct this just by playing a bit with those settings. So I'm gonna try with 0.05 and give this one at 0.01 and try baking again. Well, actually, this problem is because of another problem in Blender. You can go to this one, face orientation. So the high poly is good, but the low poly has inverted normals here. So let's take those two and say shift in, and here you go. Now let's try again. Well, export FBX. Reimport. Oh, not this one, this one. And rebake with the same settings. Here you go, much better. Do we still have the problems on this one? We do have them, and they're a little worse. So we gotta still keep playing with those ones. Yeah, that's the problem I did. I did 0.05. I actually wanted 0.005. And now it's clean. I want to say ta-da. So now we'll just make a small change here. Put those back to their places. Gx -1 and Gx -2. Here you go. And we export with the same name. Actually, you can make another name if you want, but we'll do it with the same name. So it's UV Modify Tutorial. And we import it. The UVs haven't changed, so we won't have to bake it again. And here we got our mesh with a clean bake. Now we're going to start the second part. So for our second part, we're going to start by making folders. We'll make, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different materials we could put. So let's make 5 different folders and add mask with color selection to each one. So in our properties, we do pick color, and I'll take the blade for this one. I did. Rain guard for this one. Name your folders, it's better. The guard for this one. And I'm not sure how you call this part, so I'll just invent a name. So so I know what it is. I'll just call this ropes, and I see there's 3 different colors for the holder, so we'll just pick the 3 different ones. We might actually do this one new. So let's call this one holder. And for our last one, we'll put here, let's call it holder decoration. And let's click color selection. Here you go. And you pick the color. Now everything is prepared and we can start making materials. So you got the smart materials here. Usually beginners just take the smart materials. Would you please load it here? Those are the smart materials with this form. And you could actually just pick them, but if you're wanting to make that mesh for your portfolio, usually the recruiters will notice this. They know those materials, and that's kind of cheating using them. So we'll make our own smart materials. You can though use these materials as starters. So for example, for our blades, we're gonna add this one, unhide it. We got our material here. With shift and right click you can rotate the light so you see the results. It's a nice base. So for our workflow, full procedural workflow, we'll start with value variation. This one's easy, so just pick the color. With the alt click you can just click, otherwise it'll just pick other ones, but with alt click it'll just select the one you took. And here we're going to click on base color, right, grunge, and pick one of those. So what you want is a material which is mostly clear and has black marks. We can try the grunge dirt one. So that's okay. You can play with the balance if you want to correct it a bit, and the contrast. I'll just leave it this way, and now change the layer multiplier. So I'll add it in multiply and reduce opacity. There you go. So that's a start. You can still always change it afterwards. Now let's go to our second layer, which we'll call Roughness Variation. Just pick the roughness one, and so we might just do the same and put something here, some grunge here, but then we won't have control over the roughness. So we want to keep this control. So for this, we'll just add a mask on the layer. Oops. Add a black mask. Now we got our black mask, and add a fill, and we'll put our grunge on this one. So for this one, we'll mostly take something that's dark with light spots. So for example, try the grunge test spread. If you want to take a look at the roughness map, just go roughness here, and this is your roughness map. So you control the balance. You see it changes, and you can add some roughness through this. You still have control over the map with this slider. So go to crunch the spread. That could be a nice start. So here the light parts represent the rough parts, and the darker spots represent the darker parts, the glossy parts. So let's just try another grunge, because I'm not a fan of those results. This one's kind of better. Now we could add some scale to it. Okay, so now change your selector to roughness. So when you change this, it'll affect the roughness, because this one's just affecting roughness, so you might not think of it. But if you're working on one with on a layer with multiple channels activated, you might want to change here so you can have control over all your channels with those options. Just delete that. And yeah, we're on roughness. We're also gonna take multiply maybe. So when you add multiply, it'll multiply with the roughness of the lower layers. So we might still want to add some roughness. I think I'm gonna get it a little lower. And actually, yeah, one's good. Let's lower a bit the opacity. Take the reflex to hide and unhide your layers, so you really see the difference. Usually it's supposed to be pretty subtle, because if it's too if you see it too much, it won't be really realistic. And I think I'm gonna take that layer a bit lower in terms of opacity. That's pretty subtle, that's pretty nice. Now we got our two first layers. The third one we're gonna make is the color variation. So this one has a different setup. We'll keep color. We'll add some grunge to it. So the grunge you want to take must have supposedly light parts, gray parts, and dark parts. Let's maybe let's try this one. I'm not sure it'll make the right effect, but we'll try. Usually this one you'll want to put the scale to 2. And now what we're gonna do is not add a mask to this, but add a filter. And filter we want is gradient. So usually when you're looking at realistic objects, you see the base, but like the base color it has, but there's some hidden colors. I'm not sure I remember the exact name of it, but if you look at paintings, you can look at the colored spots from close, and you'll see it's not just one color, but different variation of colors inside it. So we got our gray color, but on metal we might notice some bluish colors. And some more like rusted colors, so a little more brownish here. I think I won't add it here, but actually on the third color position. So this is subtle, but we can actually change the color position with this. And you can, with this, you can add other ones, but usually 3 are enough. Here you go. So what I would like to do is just get this one a little low, so maybe this one a little higher, not too much. Yeah. So that's a nice base, though we could have a better grunge for this. That one's a bit violent, but it could do the trick. I think I might like to add another filter, which is the blur. The one's a bit violent, but maybe we add it to 0.2, 0.1 maybe. Looks could look good. And now I'll try the soft light. Maybe change a bit this one on darker blues. Okay. And reduce a bit the opacity. Here you go. So without it, with it. So let's make a small review of what we already did. We got our base material that you selected here. You could select pretty much everything. You can make a wooden blade if you wanted. Add that one. You got your wooden blade. But we're going with the iron rough. So this is a pretty base material with already some small details. But you couldn't just use it like this. A real blade would have lots more details. We added the value variation, the roughness variation, and the color variation. So I'm not sure for you, but I think I like this result better than just the iron rough. So now we got our 3 base layers. Those are the layers I use all the time. The grunge variates, the settings variate, but all the time I do a value variation, roughness variation, and color variation. Now those ones might change, but what I like to do is add a dirt layer. So we call this one dirt. Usually you'll select some brownish color or anything pretty much, and roughness that's a bit higher, except if you want maybe muddy results, it'll be less rough. So to this we'll add a black mask and a generator. So with the generator you can actually make your own one with Mask Builder, Mask Editor, which are based on your makes. Like some use the ambient occlusion, curvature map, thickness map, and all. But we'll make a pre-made one which is called dirt. So that seems pretty logic to us. And now we got our dirt generator, and you can change the dirt level. So the dirt one, the dirt generator is usually based on the, not the curvature, but for example, if you decided to take this and add it to the rain guard, you see that it goes more in the small places, like the sorry for my English. It goes in the small spots. You understand what I mean. So let's just finish this. You got your dirt level, your dirt contrast, so I'll put it pretty low, and your grunge amount, which doesn't care about the different channels. And the scale, which just changes the grunge scale. So I think I like it this way. And you'll do the same, so choose a multiplier, maybe the soft light one, without it, with it. And can actually just keep this. And usually, actually, what I do with the dirt one is leave it on normal, but that depends completely on you. And we also got our roughness channel, so let's change that one, leave it on normal too, and get it a little lower. So that's pretty much how you create your material from scratch. Or not exactly from scratch, you make it from this, but you could actually start from a fill, like we did all these ones, like just make a fill layer and start with a base color here, your base channels as you like. Now, of course, you can add as many layers as you want for other details, paint on it, but this is a procedural tutorial, so we won't go with it. For a blade, you could also add some blood or some usage. Let's just add some blood layer. Usually it's darker. Add a mask. And let's just try for example purposes the curvature map. I mean the curvature generator, which bases on the curvature channel. So you could get some nice results from this. So let's not hurt too much. Here you go. What you could add, actually you got your curvature generator, and what you can do is, no, not that. You could add a fill layer on top of your curvature generator. Choose the grunge that you like. For example, let's just try this one. So right now your curvature isn't seen anymore. It's just your grunge. But so you can have your grunge details, but just on top of your curvature details, you add it on Multiplier. And now it appears just on the curvature part. Blur it, you can see. Let's also maybe add some more scale here. Some more balance as well. And maybe reduce a bit the opacity in base color. Just do it. So of course the details are kind of blurry, kind of ugly, but I put it in 2K, so you can still get those baking in your base in 4K, or the baking, for example, in 8K, and you'll get some nicer results. Or you can try and explore your UV space a bit better. For example, I could have made some things a little bigger, but explored this empty space. Try to have as less empty space possible in your UV space. So here you go. Now you can do exactly the same thing with your different materials on different parts. And afterwards you'll get a nice katana with realistic details. Also, for example, if you wanted to reuse this material, you could create a smart material just by clicking on the folder and creating smart material. And here you have your blade material. Now, for example, if I wanted to go to the rain guard, open the rain guard. Please open the rain guard. anything in the rain card, that's why. There you go. Not sure why it doesn't show. Oh, that's why. Because on our smelt material we got a color selection, a mask by color selection. So let's just get rid of this, remove mask, and there you go. Change the iron color. Things as you like, maybe reduce the roughness. Change the roughness on your roughness variation, or just use it in another project as you like. And that's all, folks. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.